Shut up and sit down.
Welcome everybody to the first episode of the Midnight Showing. My name is Dan Connors and I'm here with
Bayless Tunnicliffe. Good to be here.
So guys, this show is about us seeing every movie as they're released in theaters, and we like to talk about them in an analytical yet unscripted and kind of unreviewed based format. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna try it out. Let's see how it goes. So this episode we saw Rampage, starring Dwayne Johnson, Naomi Harris, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And it was originally released on April 13th, 2018. And we saw this a couple days ago, like 3 or 4 days.
Gosh, yeah, it was a while ago.
We don't want to like wait this long in between to like talk about it.
This is definitely an outlier.
We were trying to get mics and stuff set up, so it took us a while to figure out.
It's almost been like a week now, hasn't it? I almost thought it was what day did we see it?
I think it was like Monday or Tuesday.
Of the week? Oh, yeah, probably. That sounds about right, yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so you wanted to say... So do you want to try the...
Yeah. First? I think it'd be a good idea to start off just by both of our initial impressions out of a ranking of 10, what we felt. And I'm of the opinion...
Like, as of right now or coming out of the theater?
I want to do it at, hopefully we can preserve... I want to try to preserve as much as we thought before or right after we saw the movie, kind of like we would be in our fresh state if we had done this.
So right as we walk out of the theater is what this is supposed to
be. Because we sat down that one day and we really just worked on the mic stuff, but if we had gotten down and sat down, what would we have talked about? That's kind of where I want to get back into that mindset.
Okay.
So you want to go first, or should I?
You can go first.
Okay. So I was thinking this is 7.3. Now, that might be a little high, but I enjoyed it, I thought it was a good movie. There was nothing wrong with a good movie. It's not a fantastic movie, and that's the thing that I think most people...
Yeah, well, this is going to be the hard part to, work around, because it's, it can be a bad movie, but you have fun.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be kind of interesting to work around. But that's the other part, is, it's going to be weird because this is the first, trial run of... referencing ones that we've already seen, because I already almost wanted to reference Hurricane Heist, but I tried not to. We can't do that. We can't go backwards. I mean, it makes I want to, but I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah. So you should give yours.
Yeah,
and then we can kind of talk about why we felt that
I think mine is around that, a 7-ish, in the 7 range, I guess, because it was there was a lot of weird stuff with it. Not weird, but not
quirks.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously just not, I don't want to say thrown together, but it was just, it was your everyday action movie.
You could tell it wasn't even that deliberate.
It was just a big bad guy movie where someone has to sit, and
that's okay.
Yeah.
That's what Hollywood does. That's how they support their industry, is by producing movies that literally just aren't gonna make a super ton of money, but they'll make some.
It does enough.
The way I was seeing it though is 7.3. Now I kind of rate it as, I kind of like to think along the lines of most movies fall between, or 50% of movies should fall between 25 and 75%. That's the way I think of it. I like to think of it that way, not like the very typical standard ratio of if it's not 8.0 or above, it wasn't worth watching. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think there's ever really one that isn't worth watching, because that's my whole philosophy with yeah, but even then, people have fun with it. It's still worth watching.
Yeah, but it's definitely one that you wouldn't see on your own. The Room.
But that's what I mean. It's that's why I don't like
if someone likes watching The Room on their own and laughing about it.
That's why I've never really fully agreed with reviews, because I think everyone's got
that's true.
It depends on the person. It depends on the atmosphere. It depends on how they're feeling that day.
I always hate these intellectual discussions though that delve down to it depends. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that you're wrong. You're definitely right in every way. It's just frustrating.
Yeah. No. But that's why. Yeah. That's why we wanted to do this, because we're not movie critics. We don't pick it apart. It's just kind of
this is a stereotypical trope we see very often now in the reoccurring themes, especially the Marvel films are really pushing this agenda. So
yeah, it's like we just kind of like to talk.
We're just like, hey,
like,
that was a pretty cool, scene. So now that we've gotten out of the, I did want to remark just real quick, 7.3. The reason why I've rated it that is just because I think it was fun. I think it was enjoyable, and it was not a movie that I'm ever going to see again, probably though.
Yeah, the only time I would is if it was like
someone else hadn't seen it. Like a friend yeah, exactly. Like in the future, someone's like, "Hey, I got Rampage on DVD."
Yeah,
because
just for like it's the same thing as what we used to do with like movie nights where we would just put on something stupid, like that spider movie or whatever. I don't remember what it was, but it was like the spider that destroyed the city.
Big freaking spider or something like that.
It was on Netflix or whatever. But
yeah,
it's just one of those ones where it's like, oh, The Rock's in this monster movie.
I don't think it means it's that far though.
I mean like
rubber / big freaking spider territory.
It's like you just kind of put it on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like you wouldn't,
and then you can appreciate it for its moments that are good and ignore the parts that aren't.
Yeah, and that's with like kids. Like I think kids would probably kind of be into this.
Oh, definitely. I think that easily, if we were 10 years old, we might be like, wow, Rampage was revolutionary.
Yeah. I mean, it was
one of the greatest things ever.
It's basically like Transformers, but with monsters.
Yeah.
It's like there's these big giant things. Humans have to help defeat them.
That one took too long to get going, so by the time they got the second movie going, the franchise is ruined. Like we were old enough to realize, wait, this isn't a good movie, the second one. The first one was pretty good. I liked the first one.
I liked the first one, too. Oh, now we're just spinning off.
Yeah, sorry. Back on track I think it was fun and enjoyable, but it loses the points of it's not a very renewable experience.
Yeah.
But I do give it the credit that, you're right, you bring up a good point that I can easily see children running with this. So, how should we structure this now? Good parts, bad parts? Should we just kind of go with the flow?
I think we should just like talk about it, like as we go along. Like, because I at least took notes. Like, about
I noticed you were doing that.
Yeah,
and I started taking them as well.
I mean, it wouldn't really work if there was more people in the theater, but yeah. I think we should just try to like go. See, this would be easier if it was like closer to the timeline, because now I kind of forget how it starts.
So, I mean, it starts off really. You start seeing the development of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, as he's a zoo taker, and I felt that
they're in the
his philosophy. He was a really good guy, and this is something I want to talk about. I want to focus on. I want to make this a key point. Like, let's put a pin in this and always come back to this as we progress through the film. Is the progression of the character of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? Now, I'm not sure to be a film analyst.
Film critic. We just talked about it.
But it was literally when I was watching the movie, I'm like, this man is changing very drastically, and it was honestly quite shocking. I was disturbed by how far. Well, okay, I won't say anymore. But I would like to talk more about that. I thought he was really cool. Like the way they got into it. It was very stereotypical of. What is that called?
Well, he's like a funny guy at first. Like he makes a
joke. They're kind of just introducing the whole.
He's got to save the person.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, this guy means business, and then he goes back to funny guy with the monkey. George.
Yeah.
The gorilla.
Yeah.
Are gorillas considered monkeys?
I do not believe they are. I believe they're apes.
Is that not the same thing?
I believe they are different, yes.
Oh.
But I could be actually just the most barbaric man ever. But I believe that at least monkeys and apes are different. And so I believe that...
Oh, yeah, because it's in the class of primate.
Yeah, monkeys are primates. And then...
Well, apes are primates, too.
Wait, really?
I think so. I think primate
you're
is
right,
like the monkey-ish thing, but like ape and primate. Or primate and then ape and monkey.
Talk about a side tangent.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, we did that anyway, so it's...
No, yeah, of course. Yeah, it's going to happen, I guarantee you. So, then we start seeing a little bit more of a inner development of George. George starts off as this kind of callous but funny monkey, because, he's rude to the little monkey,
Really? I didn't take that as he was being, like, rude.
He was being definitely rude. He was like the little monkey was like, hey, those are women, and my brain psychology is meant to fight anyone who tries to stop me from interacting with women in a positive way. And then, that's when the humans came up, and then that monkey was the little monkey. We don't even know his name, I don't think.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, it was actually they did name him.
It was something. It started with an N. I don't remember.
I thought it was M. But I'm thinking of Marcel from Friends.
I don't remember.
Anyway, then the George comes up and he scares that little monkey. And then he tells George, he's like, "Yo, you gotta protect him. You gotta make sure, he lost his family to poachers. Just
Which
like
is
you."
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, it's foreshadowing to when you find out that George was, lost his family to it. But that's another thing in that story that we see later on in the movie. Skipping halfway through the movie real quick, when he's talking about that, he's like, they shot at me, they missed. I shot at them.
Weird line.
I didn't. Yeah,
that was a really weird line.
It was really weird. I thought about that for a good solid minute.
I wrote that down. I was like, did they really need to add that in just for us to know that he's killed people? They already said he was special ops and stuff.
They should have just left it at. Yeah, because they mentioned throughout the film, he's like, yeah, I've been a lot of places. I fought a lot of wars. Yeah. And you don't fight wars without.
It was just a weird line.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a little bit like a creative play on words, but also it kind of towed the line between being stupid.
Yeah.
But mostly it kind of showed this beginning of a more calloused individual, because before he seemed very caring, very, very nurturing, because he wanted to protect these monkeys. He's very, he's very like, hey, calm down, don't worry about it, right? And but I liked his character before, when he was like, people lie, animals don't. When they don't like you because they want to eat you. When they do because they don't. You know what I mean?
It just felt kind of weird to me though, where he was like, it just felt like the most obvious answer for why someone would like animals rather than humans. I thought it would be more like...
I thought it was a creative way to put it, though. Because that's the classic, I trust animals more than humans. I agree.
I felt like they should have just... for that part where it's like, why don't you like humans? Or why do you like animals and not humans so much? I felt that was the perfect opportunity to say, I fought poachers in the war and stuff, and so I've just been trained to basically protect animals, or something like that, where it's like, this is my reasoning because I was a poacher hunter.
I just feel like that's being less.
They understand me. It just felt kind of dumb to me.
I mean, I can get where you're coming from, but also I think that it's less inflected if you just say, I'm just trained to. It kind of makes you seem like a dumb army brute. That your only objective is to
talk about your past a little bit. Just oh well.
I know he did mention at some point. He's like, you see a lot of people when poaching. You see a lot of bad in people. And so they go into it a little more later.
What you could have done is when the girl asked him out,
then. Yeah,
that guy was supposed to be his buddy, I guess. The nerdy guy. You could have just had him be when the girl asked him out, just be like, look, I know you connect with animals, or you like animals more than people because of your time with the poachers, but try hanging out with her for a little bit. Word it as where the Rock's not saying it, but the guy is being look, I know what you've gone through, so try it like this, or something. I mean, it doesn't really matter. We don't need to play script doctor, but
I think it plays a large role in that it's not just that it's not just that he trusts animals so much, that he cares for them and trusts them so much. It's also partially that it's the converse of that coin, that he kind of has been hurt by people a lot, and not just in a way that it's I've been shot at, you can tell that in his past, because he said that, somebody's done something to him that mentally made him, and again, yeah, you're right, we don't need to play script.
Yeah.
Script doctors.
I mean, and it's also
I agree.
In the end, him
it was
being hurt by humans or whatever didn't really even matter. It's kind of just, you're supposed to throw a character plot.
Yeah, he kind of plays this whole...
Because even in the end, he's really just a joking guy.
Yeah, a very lighthearted dude. And I mean, you could say that means that there's a very round part of him, in that I'm using basically a complicated part of him that we never get to see because the movie is cut short, or that we don't, the movie only develops in a Hollywood kind of fashion, and that if we had seen more screen time of him, the entirety of his journey, we may have seen a different side of his conversations that changed him. I mean, take it, if we had looked at an honest, an actual man's 2 weeks doing this kind of a thing, if this was in real life, that'd be a lot different of a story than, Hollywood's portrayal of it, I mean, not saying this is a a movie based on a true event.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, anyway, moving on. So,
well, actually, like, what I totally forgot about was the space part.
Yeah.
That was the actual opening. When
that was really space. Cool, that's right.
Like,
loved that scene.
Whereas she's like, it's just, oh no, the guy was like, on Earth is like, it's just a rat, and she's like, it's not anymore, and then it's like this freak show of a dog rat.
It's like a bear almost. Yeah, that's like way more fluid in motion than a bear.
That was really messed up, by the way. How they're like, I'm not opening the escape pod until you get those samples. It was like, whoa. Like,
well, and then you could tell because once you realize it was a corporation and not, you know.
Yeah, like NASA.
Because, yeah, NASA is very militaristic in how it conducts itself.
Yeah, like that. Well, and it plays into later where you find out where the company lady is like, yeah, but we got the samples and that's all that matters or whatever. The part was cool, like it was kind of gripping at first, I guess. The only part I didn't like about it was why even have her in it? Like, to say...
I think it's because otherwise it wouldn't be an action scene.
Well, no, but
and you wouldn't be introduced to the scariness of this
I guess I shouldn't
conflict.
say why have her in it, but why have her eventually escape in the escape pod if it's just going to blow up anyways?
I think it's because the explosion would have... like, someone would have argued that the explosion of the gas canisters... like would have like because they weren't designed to withstand explosions, the gas canister or the canisters of the samples, but they were designed to withstand re-entry.
Yeah.
So the fact that they made it onto the escape pod was necessary so that they didn't explode.
I feel like that's a little...
I know, I agree with you, but like here's the thing.
I'm talking about it more as like her. Like we're like, wow, the company is like screwing her over. They're gonna let her die if she doesn't get these, and then she gets them, and you're like, cool, she's gonna come back, and she managed to get in the escape pod. She did it, and then she just dies anyways. Like it was a little like, why even have her like get in the escape pod? Like why not just have the space station end up exploding, or like she gets eaten by the rat or whatever, and then the space station explodes. And then you see like a shot of all of them.
I
like,
get what you're saying,
Earth or something. Like,
and again, I think that's the it's the conflict of if she did just get eaten, then like, well, I mean, it's about the same outcome if she did get eaten or she did make it, but like then you have like some hope, and then you're like, wow, no, she died. No,
it just felt useless. to me.
It was very
to
frustrating.
Save her and then be like, cool, she lived, and then kill her, and then just like it's over.
It didn't feel very good.
I
think it's to tie up the loose ends. Like then you don't. You're not thinking like, what happened to this girl? You know, like we just saw her escape with these. Like, let's say that all she had to do was punch a button on the ship's mainframe, and it sent out like an escape pod just for the test samples. You know, like because it doesn't make sense that she would go into re-entry with that big box on her lap. You know, that would smack her dead. You know, that would literally just collapse her.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, but even then, if anything, you could have her just. She makes it back to Earth safely, and then she knows what was going wrong up there or something.
Yeah.
Like she's like, Energine was doing all this.
Oh yeah, she could be like a doomsayer almost. You know, like, and everyone's like, whatever.
She could have been the she could have been the replacement for the Energine girl that we got, where that girl was like, I'm from Energine, but she really wasn't. Like the astronaut could have been that girl, and just been like, I was the astronaut, and I know what they're all doing or whatever. Because really, that Energine girl didn't even do anything. Like she really just got her into the headquarters.
I'm forgetting which girl.
We're bouncing all over the place. The main girl with the rock.
That was her?
What? No, she wasn't the astronaut.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
I know, the astronaut girl died. I thought there was another third girl.
No, the girl that was with the rock the whole time.
Was she the one that was the doctor that was like, the monkey's gonna die? Or the ape, sorry. We're gonna call him the monkey, though.
She was the one...
Well, a gorilla.
She was the one that woke up and she was like, oh, I'm late. And then we find out that she worked.
Yeah. But didn't she came into the thing, and then he's like, you're not seeing George. No one touches my George. And then she's like, he's growing in massive size.
Yeah, that one.
And
that's the same.
Literally any biologist could have, just known that a bigger monkey needs to eat more.
Yeah.
And then he's like, how did you know that?
What a ridiculous, part too where he's like trying to break out, and the whole reason he breaks out is because they didn't get him food. It's like, you're in the zoo right now. Like, why did it take that long to get him food? Like,
it was no one else. Like, maybe this monkey's hungry, you know? And then did you notice he was like, you know, now that I have guns pointed at me and I'm hungry, I'm actually pretty calm. That doesn't make me stressed at all. I just went through this whole friggin', you know, yeah. I went through this whole damn, like, mess of people that were screaming, like, I was yelling, I was running around, and there's guns pointed at me now, and I'm still hungry, but I'm much more calm now that I ran around. Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're not, like, tied up to a...
So, the next idea that I had was, do you think that they got The Rock for this part in the movie because he's basically an ape?
What the fuck? You take that back right now.
He is. He's a big ape man.
What the fuck?
That's what I thought of during it.
Okay, well,
do you think that's why he got this role?
I guess we're racist now.
How is that racist?
I don't know. He's more tan than us.
The other weird line was, I'd love to learn more about those submission techniques when she's asking him out. It's like,
okay, real talk. Would you have said no?
Well, it was a good, like...
It was a hell of a pickup line.
Yeah, because, like, the whole thing was they were talking about...
Yeah.
How he handled, like,
the monkeys and getting them to submit to him.
He's like, I'd love to learn more of those submission techniques.
Hell yeah.
Down for a drink.
Like, I think just on merit alone, that was, like, a hell of a pickup line. And you knew she didn't have a whole lot of time to think about it. So, like...
Yeah, like, just happened.
Yeah, you know, like, and that was really clever. So it's like, hell, this girl's got some wit to her, some sharp tongue.
Or the writers gave her some sharp tongue.
Well,
the other one,
writers gave everyone in that.
Did you hear the line as they were walking in, as the camera was panning into that scene, where his friend guy is like, did you hear him say, I've been trying out this vegan deodorant? Did you hear that part? He's like, I've been trying out this vegan deodorant, and it smells a bit like... I think he said something. I think it was like seaweed or something like that. I forget what he said it smelled like, but that cracked me up. He's like, I've been trying out this vegan deodorant.
Okay, maybe we should go through all the characters since we went through basically most of the big ones. So, what do we think about... Well, the only real major characters are left, or the girl, the Energene girl. We'll call her. Then there's Cowboy. Which is the...
Dude, he killed it in this movie.
Like, killed the movie or killed his role?
No, he was incredible. Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
I thought he was really good in some scenes.
Really?
And the writing just butchered him in others.
Really?
Like,
I loved him in all.
Like, I think he pulled off every scene. He acted extremely well. He played his character extremely well. The writing on...
Mean, like, what he had to say sometimes.
Yeah, like, do you remember specifically, we're going to call this scene out specifically, you know the scene where they're in the, like, command room and the general's like, you know, and then he has to find a way to piss off the general enough to, like, you know, get him to leave.
Oh,
yeah. And then he's just trolling him.
Yeah,
and the dude's like, what is your problem, man? And then he's like, get the hell out of my command room. And he's like, finally, in order we can both agree with. I'm like, what are you even sitting in there for then? You know? Like, what are you doing?
That one was a little weird.
Just walk away. You don't have to get ordered to leave. He's not going to even care.
Yeah.
He's looking at this board so intently. He's going to be like, hey, wait, where's Cowboy? So, you know, round the goons. Sound the alarms.
That was the other weird part about him was that... he specifically called himself Cowboy like a couple times, and that was a little too like nail on the head. Like, okay, we get it, you're a cowboy,
but like I kind of thought that was like self-acknowledging.
Yeah, it was like cheeky.
You know? It was like he knew his character and he was playing into it.
No, it didn't bother me. It was kind of funny.
No, it was funny.
Like,
it was hilarious.
Thanks for saving this cowboy.
Because honestly, I gotta admit with you, I actually thought he was like the character's super cheesy. The character that he played, the way he played the character was like almost saved the character.
He's so good, Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
I don't know what else he's in.
He's recently in The Walking Dead. as Negan.
Yeah. See,
you're
the thing
gonna,
is,
you're gonna see him and you're watching Supernatural. He's the dad in Supernatural.
no way.
Yeah.
thought
Have
he's
you
really-
seen the dad yet? You must have in season 1.
I'm in like season 6.
Yeah, so you've seen the dad.
Yeah,
that's him.
He's dead now.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Oh God.
Spoiler: he goes back.
Yeah, I think
He's so good.
I think it's the second time around that I'm at. Another spoiler alert. Sorry for spoiling what, a 13-year-old show or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know when it first aired. They were really like, okay.
It's not as old as Lost. Or it is older than Lost.
I think it's got to be.
It has
Lost
to be.
was 2004.
It's not older than Lost. Just anyway, moving on. We're not talking about shows. That's another podcast.
Wait, real quick. One of my side notes was when he's getting in the car and the guy is saying, like right after the submission technique pickup line, and his nerd friend, whatever his name is like,
Hey.
or who said it? One of them said, either Rock or nerd friend was like, I need to get back to my dogs or something like that. I thought, why do we never get to see his dogs?
Yeah.
I wanted to see his dogs.
Yeah. He never goes home.
Yeah.
What happens to his dogs this whole time? He's
specifically-
flying around the United States. Who takes care of his dog? His dogs probably ate each other. This is a tragedy.
I wasn't really thinking that. I just wanted to see the dogs.
This dog probably chewed up a child. Like, escaped from... No, anyway.
Yeah.
Another thing I wrote down. The first thing I actually quantified, like, that was worth it to actually write down in my notes. What's with this rat? That after they come up with this whole idea, you know, the energy or the two heads.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Even the girls.
Yeah, the crazy one. Yeah, she's feeding it genetic biscuits, but it's not even weird. It's just a normal rat. What is with it? What's that play? What's that writing there? What's it serve?
I took it as it still like it was one of the last surviving genes. Like the rat had the gene.
Yeah,
but,
I
like,
mean, see, that's
nothing
the
was
thing.
just happening to
That's
it yet.
the thing that I was thinking.
Like-
is like I wrote down rat being fed genetic biscuits. Plan Z if shit hits the fan. So idea is like, okay, wait a second. We didn't think about how they're gonna climb this tower that we're currently in and strike down the building while they're doing it. So we need this rat to defend us. You know, that's what I was thinking. Their mentality
it's not like
was
a defense. It's more of like
well, it's like what
all of
else
her-
would you use the rat for? Then?
all of her research went into this thing.
No, because they were
And-
planning on like what happened was their plan was the military would kill the 3 beasts,
Yeah.
and then they would sweep in, take out a chunk of one of their legs, and run away.
Yeah, just to have more.
Yeah. No, it was that was the prize money, the sampling. Maybe it was that they wanted to sample each effect on the 3 different things. So maybe that's it. You
I think
may
they,
be
I
right.
think they just wanted.
I just didn't
more
think
of
that
the gene.
the rat would have grown if it had.
I don't know.
Anyway,
they never explained it.
I think it
anyway.
was just her pet rat, is how it worked out. I honestly think that's
just
what it
to
was.
show that she's weird.
She's a weird kook, yeah, which we can't figure out through the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
She was like a blatant murderer with no kind of intelligence whatsoever. She just wanted to shoot people.
She was kind of a weird villain.
I liked the dude though. I liked her brother.
Did you recognize him?
Yeah.
From The Office?
From The Office,
Yeah.
yeah. He was the intern.
Yeah.
I can't remember what his name was, but they called him a nickname.
Plop.
Oh yeah, because his name was Pat, right, or something like that.
Pete. And then he dated Aaron, but they nicknamed him Plop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was. I thought you'd say something about it afterwards, but then you didn't. So I didn't know.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I like that actor.
Which another one of the side notes. Why was he eating a Pop-Tart with a napkin koozie?
Dude, that was perfect.
He just had like a gray napkin.
I loved that.
Wrapped around a strawberry Pop-Tart. He's like he's trying to deliver his lines as he's like forcing a Pop-Tart into his mouth.
Dude, I can tell that guy loved that. That actor was having a blast with that. Tell me that if you're the director on set is like, yo, you need to be eating more of this Pop-Tart.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like we need more cowbell kind of thing.
But just like, why a Pop-Tart? Like they didn't even try
it
to
showed
hide.
like kind of their rich, like, like kind of pompous, like rich.
I feel like if anything, they were trying to make him seem like more like a kid. Like he's just eating a Pop-Tart.
I think it's because they wanted to play this innocent, like I think they wanted him to get away like without being too much.
He wasn't a mastermind.
Yeah, he wasn't like. He was like forced conspirator, I think is what they wanted to go for, which was interesting why they decided to kill him in the end. I thought it was very interesting.
I think it was just supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Like,
he was more of a comedic, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they did, like, literally a second after, he's like, well, we'll use the other exit.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, wow, that man just died right in front of you. I mean, fair enough, cowboy.
He's literally just like, oh, that was rough. And then he's like, well, let's use the other one.
Oh, that's right. He did say that. So he gave him a little respect. Good on you, cowboy. What else? I think my next line was actually...
I had one was, so George breaks into... after the whole gene and everything, after the gene gets infected with George and whatever, he breaks into the grizzly enclosure and kills that grizzly bear.
Yeah.
And they were all shocked about it, and they were like, he killed the grizzly, and everybody was freaking out that he killed the grizzly. Can a gorilla really not kill a grizzly bear?
Dude, easily
like, really?
a grizzly would tear apart a gorilla.
Really?
Yeah, dude. All that the gorilla has is like, but dude, like we're not talking like grizzly bears are like 9 feet tall, 9 to 10 feet tall, like right? They're like they can be 10 feet tall.
Like,
they're right. They're the most dangerous land predator.
He did say that where he's like it's the most like dangerous predator, and I know that that's definitely true, but
if
like can they really not? Like is there ever
theoretically? I think that if it was played masterfully, like if you had the intelligence of a human. But the strength of a gorilla, you might be able to outplay it, but that might be a fallacy that my own mind is playing on me because I know for a fact. I mean, you know, you've seen The Revenant. You know, that was a great movie.
Yeah, I wanted to. Yeah.
Dude, there's a reason. Dude, you
Welcome
had to pay the respect.
Podcast.
What?
Welcome to the Revenant episode.
Yeah. Now we're transitioning out of Rampage into Revenant. It's the R season.
Oh my god, can you imagine if we did that where we just went through like
A through Z. Dude, we would never get through the 27 days later, like, or 23 days later.
Oh yeah, numbers are always
7 days to die. I don't even know if that's a movie.
Yeah, that was another one where I was just like, can they actually really take it down?
Dude, it would rip it apart because its claws, it would stand up at just like
but
about
gorillas
2
have
feet
some
taller
pretty
than a
force too.
Wait, what?
Like gorillas are pretty freaking strong.
They're really strong, but the thing is that the gorilla or the grizzly would stand up on its hind legs, and the gorilla like would not be able to push it over, even if it like the grizzly stood there. And if the grizzly like noticed it was coming up, it'd calm down and slash its stomach open. Like, I mean, it is like grizzlies are tough as like balls.
Yeah, like
you know you could put a shotgun shell into its face and it would still keep running.
I mean, I know they're like the worst. It just felt a little weird where it was like they were so shocked that they killed him. Where me like not understanding that.
No, it's that gorillas are very vegan, so they don't eat.
It just felt a little weird to me that they were like
it was like
no, well, not weird.
A natural fact that no one questioned it.
Yeah, like where I was like
maybe the grizzly was a bit old.
I'm not a zoologist, like.
And I mean, maybe it's that George was also old. Maybe that's another thing because George was older. I mean, he wasn't like dying, but he was.
They specifically said it like
a gorilla killing
because he said it later.
Yeah, a gorilla killed a grizzly.
Yeah, he took down a grizzly, and he was like, they said it like that. So
yeah,
they kind of worded it
as
specifically like that's insane that he took one down.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I in my haste of writing things down, I didn't want to like. Apparently, this one was a little bit more complex, and I wanted to remember it. So this is one of those things that I would have remembered the immediately after watching the movie. This is all that I wrote. Okay. Agent Park and the girl sleeping together for help, sweating blood.
What on earth does that mean?
So I think that at one point.
Who the heck is Agent Park?
No clue. No damn clue in my mind. I think maybe it's either that it's the girl from it's either Energine girl or the Energine mastermind girl sleeping with an agent of some sort to get assistance in some manner.
I have no clue what that means.
Like, that's all I could piece together from that part. The second sentence is what kills me. Sweating blood. What in God's name could that even mean? Like, I swear it was good. It was hilarious. I was like, this is the first thing I'm going to talk about.
Yeah.
Hey, this was hilarious. Like, think about this, though. They sleep together and they sweat blood.
Yeah, I have no clue what that means.
Okay, so I'm just going to go into...
One was when he's checking to see what landed in George's
pen
yeah.
Area.
His enclosure.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to
There
say.
we go.
Was he's like, give me the kit, and the guy hands him a plastic bag, and then he leans down and grabs what seems to be an alien meteorite of some hunk of metal with just a plastic bag around his hand.
No, but the hilarious thing is he immediately goes...
Yeah, he like looks
He
at
sniffs it.
Yeah.
He gets his face right up into it. Maybe he just looks at it, but he was then to the point that, like, if he was the first one there, he would have been the genetic mutation.
That's what the movie should have been.
Yeah.
Was that The Rock got their size.
Yeah, The
and
Rock.
then beat up the
Well,
animal.
apparently he's an ape himself, so it would have been the same. It would have been the same movie. It's just been a George would have been signing to everyone.
That would have been so cool if like The Rock and George.
Oh my
were
god!
that
No,
big.
no. Yeah, imagine they were swapped positions. So George has to sign through the whole movie at everyone. And then everyone's like, what the hell is this monkey talking about?
Yeah.
And then he goes through the politics and bureaucracy of convincing everyone that he's an intelligent ape that has to help his friend human. And
Oh my
it would have been a touching story.
But yeah, I just thought that was a little weird that he's touching this what seems to be a meteorite of metal with just a plastic bag.
And like, think of it. It's like what in God? Where did this come from?
Yeah, he didn't put on gloves. He didn't contact anybody.
Yeah. Oh, the thing is, he put on like a pseudo protective thing, but he puts his
But it's
face
just
right
a
up next to it. He
Well,
could
no,
lose his eyes right there.
The thing for me was it was literally just a plastic bag. Like it's not going to protect you for anything.
I mean,
Like-
depends on highly corrosive material or highly corrosive like byproducts. Then yeah, definitely it wouldn't have protected him for shit. But like, I think he's just under the assumption that it isn't like high grade acid. That
I just thought it was a little weird.
it was weird. Believe you me, I agree.
The Energine girl, when she wakes up and is freaking out because she's like late for work or whatever, her TV is facing away from her couch. Like her couch is against a wall and then the TV is up against the same wall. Like the TV doesn't face the couch at all.
Looking over at the living room here.
We don't sit over there. We sit
Yeah. So maybe she had an extra couch that was worth $5.
There's
You know.
definitely not an extra couch. It was just weird. It's like the TV was at the same plane.
How would she eat her breakfast and watch TV at the same time?
That one guy is driving while holding his handgun.
Yes. Yeah. He's sitting there like wait. I'm thinking of a different movie.
It was when we first see the military guys. He steps out of the car and he opens.
Oh
the door.
yeah, he opens the door with his gun.
and he's holding
hand.
the pistol.
Yeah, and he's got his like hand around the trigger,
Yeah.
doesn't he? Or like around the
I think it's around the thing.
Yeah, so like it's not on the trigger, but like he could easily slip it in and shoot. And it's like, and then he takes it, he puts it away, and then he grabs another gun off the table, or like he gets
a
it out.
guy hands it to him.
Yeah, and he's like, no, I think he does hand it to him.
He hands it to a guy when they're getting in the helicopter.
The gun?
Yeah.
He hands a gun to a guy.
I think he picks
His
up
handgun?
the big gun. No, I think he picks up the big gun. Then he like cocks it, and then he
that's right.
hands it to.
Dude, how much did you want? Sorry, I knocked the table there, and we were told not to by the studio here. Producer's gonna yell at me for that.
Yeah, it was just weird that he like was driving while holding his pistol.
What, dude? I do that all the time.
He like, steps out.
I really wanted that guy to live.
Really?
Yeah, I
think so.
thought he was kind of okay, especially for like they were playing him off as this military guy, but he wasn't like a dick, real big dick guy, like he wasn't like the biggest, like I'm thinking like the most immediate character parallel I can think of is in Avatar, the main like bald white dude who's like killing all the native.
Oh yeah.
The commanding
Yeah, the
dude who
beefy
like
guy.
yeah who's like, hey, I can get your legs back if you kill all these innocent people for rocks underneath, but yeah, anyway, so that's like he wasn't like that,
They set him up to be like a character and then they did just kill him, but I feel like,
and like I kind of thought he deserved he had the smarts to like
but his whole character was just a military dude.
He was a mercenary.
So I feel like it wouldn't have really fit.
It wouldn't have fit.
What
at
would
all.
he have even done?
Maybe there was a scene where like he's in Energene and they're all running, right? And then he's like, "No, I gotta take this beast out. It killed it killed those men." Maybe he had a redeeming arc that then he gets like he shoots a rocket into the wolf's eyes and then it eats him, so he doesn't go off like a damn like plaything, but he goes out kind of with the bang. Like maybe it takes his arm and then he makes it onto the helicopter, or like maybe it takes his arm and then he finds a way, like maybe something he like finds a way to like it wounds him in a severe way, and then he finds a way to survive out in the wilderness for a while and makes it back to civilization.
It just seems like too much work for just a military
dude. That's true,
like, but you also need...
I wanted him to be redeemed.
You only need one big beefy guy to be the hero, and they already had the Rock doing it, so... No, but I mean, like, to be the main hero, and they already had the Rock, they couldn't have him come in.
But, like, he would have died at the end, so it would have come out in the wash,
I think it was just...
He wouldn't have been a hero. He would have been, like... He would have redeemed his, like it would have gotten revenge. He would have been like a contributing factor, and it ties in more. I don't know. I mean, you're right. It's a little bit more messy and convoluted.
I was fine with him dying. Is my point. I guess.
I wanted him to live. That's all I know. So yeah, but yeah, another hilarious thing. Okay, this is jumping into a decent amount farther. When they have finally lost track of all three of them, they've turned on the sensor, right? And all of them are rushing towards...
Oh, that was my next point, too, was the frequency sensor. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about the frequency sensor, but we can talk about that one in a little bit. I wanted to go over the Moab situation, right? So they're going over, it's like, well, we got these Moabs we're going to drop, but we don't want to drop them because, they're really big and expensive. So we're going to send a whole platoon of foot soldiers after, like... flaring them or something, like in the quarry, right? Quarry. And they're like, okay, we like exploded like 6 IEDs on them. Now we're gonna send like 50 armed men and choppers down and on foot attack them. And it's like, okay, they've got smoke now. They've got freaking like it's like why didn't you wait like 10 seconds till the smoke cleared or use thermal? Use thermal like we had this technology, but you wasted 50 men's lives. And then they're like, well, we're screwed. I guess we're going to have to drop the big bomb on Chicago. What? Why not drop it on them in the quarry? Right there. You bomb them, they stop, then you send the Moab on them. Who cares about this quarry? They had a perfect opportunity, yet they killed... It made...
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Why not just...
It made zero sense. Wait, are you telling me they're going to be, for the next, like, 250 miles of running, they're going to be in absolutely nowhere, and then they're going to converge in the same spot in a place we don't care about at all, and there's no civilians we have to relocate? Well, that sounds like we should send foot soldiers for them there.
Now that I do think about it, though, I think the reason that wasn't brought up, besides the fact they needed 2-hour movies.
Yeah, they needed.
Was it was supposed to be the general dude, the black dude with the you know what I'm talking about?
The general.
Ever even give his name?
He's just a general.
I think it was supposed to be he's so stubborn and like doesn't listen.
Classic military.
He doesn't listen to Cowboy, where he's like, no, like the flares will do it, and then he's like, the flares didn't do it, so send in the guys. The guys didn't do it, now do the Moab bomb.
Well, see
thing.
that.
Like, I think it was supposed to be like this general is so headstrong and stubborn. Like he ends up risking more of his men and not listening.
It just seems it's like another force thing. But I could definitely see that happening. Well, I have no idea about the military. I don't know about the inner workings of the military.
I'm only know they fight lots of giant gorillas.
My uncle is actually I have an uncle that's
giant gorilla?
A general. Yeah,
nice.
He was the task force on giant gorilla fighting in the war.
Damn. So this whole movie was a documentary
about my uncle.
Yeah, your uncle.
The only guy they could find that could even come close to replicating him is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson himself.
Wow, what happened to you then? If your uncle was The
his
Rock.
uncle my uncle looked like me a lot until 3 years from now. So watch your words.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Until he took roids. Well, he did find out about them 3 years older than me, but that's just a coincidence. He just got into professional bodybuilding around the same time.
So the part I had about the frequency was, even if the frequency did affect George, so like they turn the frequency thing on. We're gonna track the monsters, so they know the wolf, and they know about George. So they turn the frequency on, and I thought even if the frequency can affect George, he's sedated in the air, and so frequency turns on, and it's supposed to be like, okay, now they are driven to go get this and turn it off. Even if it did affect him, wouldn't the sedative still had kept him down?
No, because I mean, think about it. It's kind of like
they specifically said we took it into account for his growth and all that stuff. So if his brain suddenly is like, I need to go get this, he'd still be his body sedated.
They were only accounting for the level of hormones that were in his brain currently that were leading to his agitation. So the levels of agitation that were in his brain at that time when they were sedating
had nothing to do with the agitation. It was about
it does. That's exactly what they were trying to counteract.
Sedated him, but like the levels only had to do with his blood and his growth. Where they said they accounted it.
Yeah, but his brain can your brain can also do that. And if your brain is already on a decent amount of like agitated like hormones, I don't know, it could release more, especially if like the chemical allowed a growth in that department of your psychology.
But it also it didn't make him more agitated. It just made him want to go get it. That's what they made it sound like.
But
to me it was like even if he was like, I need to go get this now, his body would still be shut down because of the sedative.
Well, but see, that's the thing is that like while your body's shut down like that, it's not actually shut down. In fact, when you sleep, you go through a lot of your biological processes that handle you handle a lot of your immune system and all that stuff. So it is not far to imagine that, because you can hear things while you're asleep. Like your brain just decides, I don't really care about anything that's not doesn't wake me up, that doesn't startle me. And if somebody's like in the room and talking, and you've been alone for a while, your brain knows that difference. Like if someone walked in while you were camping and it was talking, that'd be one different from then like if you were in the dorm room and someone was talking. So like when it hears that ringing, it's like, oh God, like this is real bad, and that's all his body knows. I mean, I get what you're talking about, because it was definitely like real force. Because like he should have woken up slower, right? Yeah. He did wake up pretty slow though. Now that I think about it,
it was like right as it turned on, he twitches his hand,
and I think it would have been like a little distorted. Well, I don't know.
It was just kind of weird to me.
Yeah. Why would they build this whole radio tower to emit this frequency?
They didn't.
Yeah, they did.
No, she said the radio tower was already there.
No, because when they flipped the switch on, this thing came like out of the it went like.
Well, yeah, but she said that she had her team modify it last night to call the monsters. Like, so the tower was already there.
Oh,
but then the team
go ahead and use whatever money you can to just augment this to emit a frequency.
Hey, I'm not saying it was the right choice. I'm just saying they didn't build it to call the monsters.
Well, at least they're not that dumb, okay? Granted, thankfully, they're not that idiot. Maybe they needed it for the space communication.
The angle...
Well, they can just talk on the iPhone. Or what is that? Isn't there an ad that's like that you can talk in space? I saw one that was just like that you get coverage. It was like playing on the fact that you get coverage even in space.
I don't know. I haven't seen that.
So that when Tesla builds flying cars to go into outer space and see his car.
The angle when they're parachuting on the Rock and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, what was that? Like, so they pull a parachute, and it seriously looked like a CGI Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And he's like, what the heck? And he's like, you're welcome. And then he pulls the thing. Like, it was such a weird
And
angle.
then, it's like right underneath him, like a GoPro
that was
statue.
in Rock.
Yeah.
Where he's like looking down. It cuts. It's like emotional, where it's like, oh, George crashed in the airplane. And then it cuts this CGI, like, from a bottom angle, thumb-looking Rock, where he's just like, George, no. And it's like right there on his chest. Like, what was that?
It's like they had one of those. I was thinking of this. It's in Ready Player One, they had the little base thing. I imagine there's a camera like that it came just like right there, and it's like looking up at us.
It's just like, why that angle? Why couldn't you just get him?
How did no one in post editing say?
Yeah, it looked so weird.
Wait a second. This looks like absolute just child's play of cinematography.
It looked so CG.
Well, they only had one plane to explode, so they couldn't very well just go back out and film it again, Daniel.
It was so funny. Here's the point where I said, why did she have to ask what happened to the poachers? Like, was that only to establish that he's killed people? We already kind of talked about that, where it's like, it was just kind of out of place, where it's like, we know he's been in the army and he's done poacher stuff. Why did she because he's telling the story of George. This is how I got George. I found him when the poachers were killing his entire family and all this stuff. And it's like, cool. That's a cool backstory of how he got George and why they're friends, because he found him as a little cub or what. I don't know.
I don't know what the word is.
I don't know what I think it's just babies or whatever. That was a cool story. And then she's like, what happened to the poachers? Who cares? And then he's like,
girl, I'm trying to talk to something. About something.
Yeah.
Of course you'd ask what happened to the poachers because you hate animals.
It's just like, why would someone want to... they're either arrested or dead. That's the only things that could have happened to them. I mean...
And I hate the prisoner taken type.
It was just weird.
Yeah, because especially poachers. You know what poachers are. You know that they're not the type to be like, oh, you caught me. Oh, sorry, officer. Oh, I've been a bad guy. I gotta go to prison now. No, they're like, what are you gonna do about it? Shoot me? Joke's on you. You're dead. They'll poach you if you try to stop them. But yeah, I agree. That was really silly. And also playing on that fact is that from that point and on to when good guy turns violent, hoping to knock him out too, though he disliked it. So basically, when Cowboy's like, hey, I got you this helicopter, and he's like,
oh, that
whatever.
Was my next one too.
Yeah, and then he's like, yeah, I mean, I gotta admit, I was hoping I could I guess you're helping us, but I was hoping I could knock you out too. It's like,
oh, yeah.
What? Why do you...
That's not a human interaction.
Yeah, why are you all of a sudden so aggressive? He's been a really nice, kind-hearted individual this whole time. And then now he's like, I hate people.
And my point was about when he beats up the army dudes was because that was a good scene of him being aggressive. Because he words it as guys, I don't want to do this, but we need to get out of here.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to do this.
Hey, if you just look the other way for a little bit.
But then the scene you're talking about is he was just straight up brutal with
he was
I wanted to punch him in the face.
Yeah, it's he felt like a big man, and now he wanted to hit another guy.
So my point was, did he really have to add the extra part? So he punches the guy in the face, he gets knocked out, and then he's choking the other dude. Did he really have to add the that's a big arm as he's choking him? And then at the end he just goes, sleep tight. Did they really have to add that as dialogue?
It's like a Call of Duty line right there. It's you knock two people out silently. He's like, sleep tight.
And then he's choking him out. It's that's a big arm. Did he really have to say that about himself?
Wait. He said it.
The Rock.
Wow, that's a big arm.
No, he didn't say wow, but
didn't he say something like don't fight it as a big arm or something to that effect? It's he's trying to convince him
it was just weird. Where
come on, don't
being that's a big arm, and not as he's checking himself out.
Of course,
he was saying it as don't fight it. That's
if
a big
he was
arm.
checking himself out, he's choking another man. It tells us a whole lot more about this. It explains why he didn't go to the get a beer with a girl.
But that was just weird. Where he's sleep tight. Did they really have to add that dialogue?
Yeah.
But then they go to the part where
it's just went too far.
Where Cowboy finds them, and it's you obviously kind of knew he was going to help them, and he tosses him the keys. That was a good line too, where he's like, "This isn't a truck stop, kid. They don't just leave the keys under the visor." It's so cool.
I like that.
This is an intense military base, and he's just "Oh, we're just gonna go steal it." It's
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's why is it in all action films they're hey, let's run up to that helicopter and go steal it? It's one, do you even know how to fly? Yeah. God, no. And then he explains, I took an hour and a half of flight lessons and they kicked me out because it was too good. It's okay, Top Gun.
That's another thing. Are there keys to helicopters? Do you have to turn an engine on a key?
Yeah.
Huh.
Why would you not?
I don't know. It seems weird.
I mean, I guess
because it's such a military. You don't think of it as a normal car.
Never seen a helicopter dashboard. I've never seen anything. So maybe if anyone else is, more knowledgeable about this, then they can mention something. But yeah, I have absolutely no clue. Actually,
I mean, I assume there would be.
Figure.
I just think it's weird to think of like a car key
If I had to
turning
use
to
my,
turn
if
on.
I had to
like
use
a,
my intellectual side of my brain to,
I would assume there was too.
I'm not trying to insinuate that you're not using your intellectual side. I'm just saying, with my intellectual facilities, which are probably flawed in so many ways, I don't imagine that. Because think about it. You can have personal helicopters, but those are like attack helicopters. Those aren't just like something that like some dude who likes helicopters and has a pilot's license buys himself if he has a lot of money. But yeah.
The other one that plays off of yours, but it's actually right before it, was they're trying to get to the helicopter, and I said the security forces guy conveniently runs out of the security office, gets in his truck and drives away conveniently right as they're coming up to the helicopter that they need to steal. Like they're walking up to the med helicopter, and it's so convenient that the security guy happens to get in his truck and drive away, and they're like, well, cool, now we can go get it. Like it was one of those movie things where it's
it's like, wow, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess the guy walked away.
Yeah. Well, would you look at that? We planned that perfectly.
Yeah.
No, okay, but mine, I didn't comment about anything except for until when we were starting to, no way Cowboy would have been so dumb in the command room to the general. He was being actually imbecilic, and not just imbecilic, childish. He was like, no, you. Basically that level of comment, and the general's like, dude, do you come on? Read the room here. Do you realize how many other people have more stripes on my freaking shirt than me? No one. So, no way he I know they're in two different branches, but no way Cowboy would just pissing contest him right there. And I know it was he was playing a role so that he could get away and help them. But still, it's I wrote that down admittedly before I knew that, so I was like, oh, okay, fair. Well, I kind of knew that they would, but I didn't know it would be that perfect. But yeah, did you see the? I said, why does Boy Wonder dress like a Sunday dad at the end?
What on earth does that mean?
The brother of the monster chick, and by monster chick I mean the chick who kills everyone.
Cancer patient?
No. The dude who played in The Office.
Oh yeah,
Pete. Yeah. Why? Did you see how he dressed? Because in the last few scenes, he was dressed like a Sunday dad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He'd been dressing like a normal 20-year-old.
Well, no, he was like a business suit.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden he's dressed like he's going to church. We're just gonna escape from this building that's about to be overrun by monsters. Which, a whole nother point, why did they keep the signal on? When they got to Chicago and the military was fighting them, why didn't they turn off the signal?
I think it's because they wanted them to keep having that motive to keep coming and so they
for what purpose? Because I guarantee. See, here's the one line of reasoning. Well, if they turned it off, then they would have, and they wanted to leave Chicago, which would have been a good idea. There would have been military fighting in the whole way through, and it's there would have been military the whole way through anyway.
Yeah. I don't know.
It was the biggest ploy that they imagined, okay, the monster's going to go up the outside and we're going to go down and then we're just going to escape him. It's going to be so easy. And then it's wait a second, our escape idea is a helicopter that's on the roof where the monsters are going to. Would you look at that? We were so clumsy.
That was kind of weird. I didn't think about that.
It's just, it made very little sense to me.
Why was Dave & Buster's the only brand in this movie? Did you notice that? So there was
what even is Dave & Buster's?
It's it's kind of like Chuck E. Cheese.
Except without the mouse.
But there's no branding, really at all. Except
is that really common in movies?
Unless it's paid promotion kind of thing. He was driving a Ford Bronco. The Rock was. That's the only other really branding I saw. But George specifically destroys a bright and this movie was very dull too. It wasn't really a lot of bright colors, and it's bright.
It was unsaturated.
It was a bright logo of Dave and Buster's, and George specifically like slowly punches through it, and he doesn't even like punch the sign. He kind of drags his arm so it drags the sign with the rubble. And I was like, why did Dave and Buster's like pay to get that in there or something, like, or did someone, I don't know, it was just kind of weird, like why Dave and Buster's was like really the only brand, because in all of Chicago they're destroying all of Chicago, and he specifically stops and destroys a Dave and Buster's sign. And
naturally,
that was just kind of weird.
Is that really common in movies for them to like would Coca-Cola pay to get their?
It depends on like how big of a scale. Like you're not going to see it in a Marvel or whatever, or like a Disney, but
like why is it? Is it because they hold themselves to a different standard?
It's just product placement, like,
and that's bad negative in a movie.
It takes viewers out of it. Like me, I was like, oh, that's freaking Dave and Buster's product placement. I mean, they do it a lot in what movies was it? I think it was Transformers. They did a lot. I think some of the Spider-Man they did too.
I can definitely see the Transformers doing that.
Yeah, but you can.
I just feel like it's more natural.
If you know about it, if you know that it's a thing, and you kind of like you just know about it. Once you see one, you'll be like, that's product placement. Like once you kind of get to the feel of it.
Well, I imagine like anytime you could ever see the logo of it, it's product placement.
It happens a lot with tech companies nowadays. It's not as much like Coca-Cola, but you'll specifically see someone hold up their phone and in like a bright like logo you'll see HP.
Yeah, I'm familiar with iCarly.
Like
remember that stupid, it was like instead of an apple it was a pear.
They'll like hold up a tablet and it's shot from down below and it says like HP and it glistens in the light or something like that. Like they use it a lot with phones. You know, they'll hold up a Samsung Galaxy and they hold their phone not like a human so they can show off the actual.
You telling me you don't hold your phone by the last inch of the phone? Hello, like a robot gripping.
That happens a lot with
a piece of metal.
So they're in the Rock and her are in the building, and they're going to get the vitals. Mm-hmm. So the FBI wipes out all of this stuff. So they don't know what to do.
Oh yeah, in the computers.
Yeah, and she can't get in. But oh great, it just so happens our thermostat tablet is hooked into the mainframe, so we can hack into the server to find out where the vital is.
No, if you don't know about it, that's actually good security design. The only back door should be your thermostat. Because they never checked the thermostat.
It wasn't even a thermostat like in a wall. It was a tablet. Like she pulled out a tablet like what seemed like a refrigerator. Like it looked like she pulled it out of like a glass fridge.
They work better there.
And then like she like started and she's like tapping and scrolling and she's like, oh, they didn't think to take the thermostat. It's like, oh boy.
Wow, I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah, she said like they took all they wiped all the computers and everything like that, but she's like, oh, there's a back door in through the server because she said every device is connected to their main servers, and since the thermostat was a main device,
any software engineer would be like, that is the worst design known to mankind.
I thought it was pretty funny. So they're breaking in. There's like supposed to be a funny scene of like where The Rock busts a thing in with his door, and then he's like, "Oh, I got this one too," and then she busts in. It's like, "Oh, she's supposed to be badass too." Now all of a sudden, they get the vitals, and she only takes 3 of them when there's obviously like 30. Classic.
Oh yeah,
it's
the things that subdue them.
Yeah, like it's a classic movie thing. It's like there's 3 monsters, we need 3 of them.
Yeah,
there's 70 here, let's take 3.
Yeah, like what? Because I'm pretty sure they break the other 2.
No, the main white-in lady takes them.
Yeah. Wait, all of them?
Yeah, because she shoots The Rock and then she's like, give them. But then.
Oh, see, that segues into. For the love of God, I cannot wrap my mind. This was the most forced part of the movie. Yes.
Yeah.
George doesn't eat anything the whole movie. Well, that's a whole other thing. He doesn't eat anything. How does he grow? The law of conservation of mass tells us he cannot grow if he doesn't eat.
It's space technology.
He obviously eats off-screen bales. Oh, well then why does he never eat? He never eats humans.
It's also...
And this one person, he's like, scrumptious looking, this fine piece of meat. and then he eats her.
The payoff.
Why?
The payoff is supposed to be in the original games. By the way, this movie is based off old arcade games. You can break into houses if you reach your arm in or whatever, and you can eat people to gain power and like or HP.
What?
It might have been HP. I don't remember.
Really?
Yeah, I mean you would.
You
could
play
toss
this
them up.
game from the perception of the monkey,
I honestly don't remember.
and you eat humans on the way. Oh.
It was like he would like toss them up like that and like eat.
And they say that we're messed up because of video games. That sounds totally messed up.
But I'm saying like
that's twisted.
That's the payoff. Is like
Well, yeah.
he doesn't eat anybody, and then he finally does the toss move and then eats her. Which, what a weird effect. She like folds in half and she's like, no. It's like,
I mean, it looked kind of natural to me.
It did, but it was kind of weird.
It was weird. It was weird because
CGI
you don't
monkey.
see people like do that very often.
It was kind of.
But
funny.
in real life, I bet that would happen. But yeah, like,
well, yeah. So let's talk about that. How she dies, where it's like, well, first of all, The Rock is shot and then appears a minute later.
he'd be dead. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
See, he got shot in the stomach. There's no way. What? He's like.
Well,
luckily, it missed my vitals.
He does kind of hold over here. So like,
It was-
to be fair, it was
It was
kind of like
straight right here in the middle. It was not like he holds like this,
Yeah.
you know. So I think he's just gripping his side, but he's holding the pressure on his middle.
I don't know.
So like, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I am saying, and I don't know how that affected the audio, but I am saying like, he got shot in the straight center of the stomach.
Yeah.
Now he said, "Luckily, it missed my vitals." What do you mean, dude? Every one of your vitals are like.
At the least, it popped an intestine.
Yeah, and that'll kill you.
Yeah.
So, like,
And he's like running, right? He's not even like.
yeah, he's not even like, okay, I'm gonna wait here for the paramedics. If I don't move, it shouldn't.
And then
like,
he ends up
burst
flying
anything.
a helicopter right as he was shot like that.
Yeah. And then he's like, all right, we're not gonna ride it. We're gonna ride it the way down.
Wait, we got to talk about her dying first.
Damn it.
So, they sneak around or whatever, and then there's no.
Well, he's going,
Yeah.
with my.
There's no audible plan between them. You see The Rock make the plan. I'm going to walk away because she's threatening them, and she's like, "Go out and like get your monkey or whatever." And he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go." And you see him like he's making the plan in his head, like, "Oh, she has the vital." It pans to that shot of like the vital in her bag, and he's thinking it. There's no like communication between him and her, and so he's like, then he yells George, and then for some reason she just knows that she's supposed to grab it, and then wait, how did that even? Oh no, she pushes her or whatever, and
So
then,
that George sees her.
yeah, and it was just there was no plan there.
I think it was just
did
like an
it.
instinctual kind of thing. I mean, I
Yeah.
get what you mean because like
It was just a little like
I'm pretty sure there was something in that movie that I would have said that. Like I would have been like, yeah, hell yeah, that and it was probably much more like forced in because I honestly don't remember that at all. All I remember is like the bits and pieces like you know, and then like you know he's like, whoa, we're riding it the way down, and then a couple other scenes, you know, but yeah. So again, now we get to talk about that.
what?
We're done with that girl's death.
Oh, one that I wanted to say real quick was it goes down to Jeffrey Dean Morgan, cowboy, at the bottom of the stairs, and then what'd you call him? Golden Boy? What did you call him?
No. That was Wonder Boy.
Wonder Boy. He's at the base and he's all sweaty, and then you get the best line of the movie, in my opinion, where Jeffrey Dean Morgan goes, "Damn son, did you just run down 80 flights of stairs?" And he's just standing there, and he's like,
I didn't think about that. Like,
yeah. Oh, it was the funniest line.
no, like I mean, I remember hearing
that guy
it.
just ran down 80 flights
I
of
didn't.
stairs.
I remember hearing it. I was just like not like really conscious of 80 flights.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't like the elevator. The elevator weirds me out.
Well, you wouldn't use it in that situation anyways.
Well, yeah, but I don't like being in the elevator with random strangers because I've seen enough movies where the elevator stops and I don't want to be in a box.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing: I don't want to be in a box with other people, much less random strangers. I'd do it with you or something.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you never know how people like react when you're in a box. People are weird when they're like, "I'm not going to get out of this box," and it's like, look, if we all calm down, we can get out. Look, I'll open up the top here.
Yeah.
We'll all get out. And they're like, no, you're going to let me go and I'll fall to the floor and we'll all go crashing. It's like, why would I want that? I don't know. It just weirds me out. But anyway.
Well, and he says, Wonder Boy, it says, wait, who are you? And he's like, I'm the dude that was just about to run up those 80 flights of stairs to get you. Like, it was the best line and the best delivery. Like, it just, you see
I love that interaction between them.
Yeah, and it's just the way you see him in the background. He goes, damn, son.
I think they were probably the two, like...
Did you just run down 80 flights of stairs?
I think they were probably, like, the two best genuine actors of... Like, because Dwayne The Rock Johnson has a script to play. You know what he knows what he's getting into. He's the main character. He can't deviate very much. He can't add a little spunk to it, right? Yeah. But both Cowboy and Wonder Boy, they're not the main, act. So they get to really have fun with it and really, like, it's a lot looser with it, because they pay for Dwayne The Rock Johnson. So, like, I'm thinking that, let me think. Damn it. Oh yeah, they were both the most genuine actors in the whole movie, and I genuinely love, like, the two characters worked really well together because, like, and not just the actors but the characters themselves, because he's like, listen, kid, you like,
yeah, he's like, I'll let you go.
Yeah, I'll let you go.
Just give me
the laptop and the rat, and I won't even remember your face.
Yeah,
and he's like,
I'll let you go.
Oh hell yeah. Sign me up for that one, dude. Hey. You're my man, like, if you ever need a rich kid, to pay for anything, hit me up too. Call me up on my cell phone. How did that go? How did that song go?
I don't even know.
The Kanye West song,
whatever.
Anyway.
So
damn, it's gonna really bother.
That was such a funny scene.
Yeah.
That was amazing. That was my favorite scene in the movie. He's like, did you just run down 80 bloods? So up at the top, they have to fly the helicopter as the tower is, like, collapsing, right? And he's like, we're gonna ride it.
George went on the outside. The dog didn't even go on the outside of the building. He, like, scratched up the very top of it.
Yeah.
But the crocodile was
through.
Like trolling. He was like, hey, wait, why would I climb on the outside when I could just climb through the inside of it and then come out the other side, having just ruined the structural integrity of this building? And I mean, what are these animals thinking? These animals don't have, like, thoughts. So, like, why am I sitting there, like, thinking critically why this croc?
It took them a long time to get up there too.
I really liked it how, like, the only two that, like, they weren't aware of the crocodile until the very last minute. That was my favorite part. Is that they're like, wait, there's a third one?
Because really, we didn't even really know about it. You just see it land in water.
I mean, you definitely know.
No, but I mean, like, we don't see it. We don't really know.
We don't know what it looks like anymore. Yeah, we don't know. We don't get any updates. All we see is its initial, and then we see a few clips of it going up.
When that first comes out of the river and it tips over that ferry boat, and all of those people definitely died. Like, that was over the top almost. You see all the people spilling over the side. That's
why I kind of wish this was like half a vlog too, because the way you looked right there was absolutely perfect to represent just the way you looked as you were. That was like over the top. I don't even want to mimic it because I don't even, That
was insane.
That was like I mean, I honestly didn't even notice it,
Yeah, you did. You reacted to it.
Really?
Yeah, you really did.
What? I'm just a monkey. Oh, boats. Oh. I was, yeah. I don't remember. I don't remember what I said 10 minutes ago, so. But,
So it's the big fight, everything like that. Everything lands. That was an intense fight. It was, like, really long. Like, really
Which
long
one?
Fight.
You mean in the arena?
One where it's like the whole thing.
Well, I haven't even gotten to talk about the way that the building collapses yet.
That's what I was talking about. Where the gorilla weight, and you just, like, yelled, like, made fun of me for my meme.
No, I just didn't know when it was appropriate for me to jump in with the helicopter.
Fine, go.
So, no, I wasn't making fun of you. That was a dank meme, dude. Thanks. Thanks for the contribution, I mean, but, like, and it definitely is good, because, we've got, like, funny, and then, like, annoying at how apparently I think everything in movies has to be literal, but that wouldn't have happened. Like, just
Oh,
straight up.
You mean like how it slid like an avalanche?
Well, no, that like you couldn't ride it down like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for the love of God, anyone with half a mind could understand. Wait a second. If this thing doesn't have anything to stop it from slipping sideways, this thing's like, it's those that like, the line, you've got like a little small pole and then a plate looking thing, and you gotta balance it, right? You know that? That's basically what that is, except you've got a very like it's not your hand. It's a metal device that is not intended to be played around with like that. So it would have just went like this. It would have just went, and then they would have flown into the ground and died. That's what it would have happened. And they sat there flying like that for like a minute and a half, and it's like, at best you could like limit the fall you could like slow it down and then hit a building, and that'd be your best guess.
Yeah.
Or best thing.
Shot.
Yeah. But the arena fight,
Arena?
draining.
What arena?
Like, I'm just thinking the arena fight is when they're fighting on the ground.
Oh, on the ground.
Yeah. Once they get off the building,
Really?
they're
I
fighting.
thought it was cool.
It was so long, dude.
It was
There
really
were so
long.
many working parts. I was like, Jesus, someone just die already. Because like they shot him like 60 times with several different weapons. And a whole nother thing, there's not a fully functioning motor, but a fully functioning Gatling gun on this helicopter. It's perfectly positioned in this arena. What happened to it? Johnson I forgot where I parked the helicopter. Damn it. Jeez, what do we let you drive it for then? If you forget every time.
Oh, one of my points right before the big fight actually was when he tells her.
This is perfect. We're going about this in the perfect
I
order.
know, it's like we're all over the place. We gotta get better at that. He tells her to get in the Humvee thing and then drive to find Cowboy or whatever.
Wait, where are we? Wait, are we on the part after the building fell?
Yes, they're on the ground.
Thank God.
They're on the ground, but before the big fight, where they wake up.
Oh, that's not as bad as
it might have been. It might have been after, but he tells her to get in the Humvee thing, and he's like, "Go get Cowboy or whatever." I think.
How does she even know where Cowboy is?
Yeah, I know, right? I think he says like, "Go get a sat phone" or something.
She just.
But
Cowboy's over that way.
Smell him. One of my points was I'm so glad that there wasn't actually a love story between them, because it would have just made the movie a little more unbearable for me. Where like they made the joke at the end where they're like, oh, maybe they'll get together or whatever. But that
totally was a love thing.
What?
Like a love interest.
No, but I'm glad they didn't. I'm saying
it wasn't
that Humvee scene where she's like, don't die, okay, or whatever. It's a classic thing where he's like, don't die, and then they kiss, and then he's like, I'll find you, or whatever. Like, I'm glad they didn't actually make a love story.
Yeah,
it's him and her just trying to, like, stop the monsters.
Dude, you're into monkeys, like.
I'm just saying, like.
No.
I would have hated it a lot more if they made
agree.
them a couple
100%,
or whatever. So I'm glad they didn't, because then it would have just been, like, great. Like, because movies do a lot where they, like, force in... Like
and as I'm getting older, I'm starting to realize these things more, these tropes that are just so, like, really blatantly boring and just not really inspiring.
So I said, I don't know, this goes back to the not really knowing a whole lot about military and whatever. Why did they use I don't know what they're called, the hyper stealth bomber things? Black Wings or whatever? I don't know what they're called. You know the ship.
Yeah, the stealth bombers.
Yeah, like... I don't know if that's the only bomber that can carry this Moab bomb.
No, it's not. It just looks cool.
Yeah.
Almost any other plane can carry these things.
I said, why?
Well, no. That's not true at all.
So, yeah, I didn't know if, like, you need that specific plane to drop that bomb or whatever, but it was just kind of weird. Like, why do they need the most stealthy airship in the military arsenal or whatever to do it? Like, what do you need to be stealthy about?
So, okay. Obviously, in that situation, there's nothing you need to be stealthy about, because
like,
what are the monsters going to do? Be like, oh, I sense on my radar that I've been sending out an aircraft coming up. But it's called Northrop B-2 Spirit, also known as the Stealth Bombers. The B-2 Spirit.
This is called the Stealth Bomber.
Well, it's colloquially known as a stealth bomber.
Yeah.
It's called the B-2 Spirit, and it can deploy both conventional and thermonuclear weapons, such as 80 500-pound class JDAM global positioning system guided bombs, or 16 24-pound B-83 nuclear bombs. This thing can carry 16 2.4 ton. Oh wait, no, it's 1 ton. 1 ton. 1.2 ton bombs, nuclear bombs of B-83. That's crazy. Anyway, so it's the stupidest tangent. My goodness, I'm sorry. Yeah, it didn't be stealthy at all.
Yeah,
that was just ridiculous. It was just like, whoa.
You didn't need it.
Remember that from the 1990s? How everyone was like, oh, look
Yeah.
at these stealth bombers. These are the coolest bombers ever.
I mean, they are, but
They move so slow.
no, they don't. They just look like it.
They just look like it because they're huge.
Yeah.
But what pissed me off is, why are they black? They blend in more if they were blue. It doesn't make any sense. It's like no one.
There's got to be a reason.
No, it's because they're like, it looks cooler. It dries faster. Paint dries faster. Black paint dries.
So the so I thought of when George stabs the crocodile to finally kill him.
For the 16th time?
Yeah. Well, that part was pretty cool. We get the kind of slow-mo for half a second where he's like going to stab him in the eye.
Kinda.
It was cool.
It was cool. It was the coolest part of the arena fight.
What I thought of was...
I just got so drained by that point. I'm like, God, stop. End it. End my misery.
But what I thought of was... so the Rock's like right in front of this crocodile dying. And it's like screaming. And I thought, all of these monster yells, all of the scream, the roars, everything about it, everybody would have lost their hearing. Like, without a doubt... That was a massive monster crocodile thing, and he's like inches from his mouth, and it's screaming. No possible situation would he still have his eardrums. Like,
yeah, it's actually the way you lose your hearing is not through a very loud sound, but it's through a sharp change in intensity. So basically,
but it's a giant monster roar. Like, he would still be deaf.
I mean, it'd have to be really like if it was a slow like build up. I don't remember it, but if it was a slow build up, it would have not hurt him at all. Even if it was like the loudest thing he'd ever heard.
Yeah, that's what it was. Like,
actually, never mind.
He gets stabbed and he goes Rah! like instantly.
Yeah, really. Okay,
he'd be deaf.
Then probably it would be
He'd be
deaf.
so deaf.
Because that's like why bullets are so bad for you. Yeah. It's because
I mean, that's all I've got.
I had some zingers at the end, and I think that the last takeaway of this whole movie is my favorite. So they've killed the monsters, right? And they're like, okay, happy days. George Act's dead. And then they're like, okay, and they're panning out, right? And you see George. So all of a sudden, people show up. Classic movie thing, right? And George sees a guy on the second floor. He holds his hand out, and this dude just climbs into George's hand. Mm-hmm. Tell me now, if you saw mutant monsters the size of like half of this skyscraper running around about to murder like our entire civilized like this whole city, that you would have been like, oh yeah, giant monkey, sure, I'll get in your hand.
I mean, it's supposed to be like he's back to his normal self.
I know it's supposed
so
to be,
he's friendly.
But tell me you would have the balls to get in that monkey's hand, or sorry, ape.
Oh yeah.
Oh, actually, he's his own subclass because his genetics have been altered so drastically in order to, actuate.
That was another weird thing was that they said
there was no Fantastic Four style like genetics changing.
Even when they take the antidote, it doesn't make them smaller. Do you remember that?
Well, how?
Like
how? Then the scientific explanation.
How would it make them big in the first place? If you're going to argue that,
because it made their growth hormones insane.
But it turns their aggression off. But then it's like it doesn't send them back to their normal. It just seems.
What would
like,
it consume their bone structure?
No, I just mean it just seems weird. Like, what on earth are you going to do with that now? Like,
yeah, that's what I was thinking. George is like useless. There's no. What is George ever going to do?
Yeah.
Put him in the Amazon. He'll eat every single being on this earth. I mean, hell. because, like everyone's like, well, apes aren't that dangerous, so they'd be easy to tame. Deer aren't that dangerous, but they still consume, like, meat. And you know why? Like, we found out just recently that, like, deer are actually omnivores. They just can't kill anything, so they just don't usually get the chance. But when they, like, are given, like, the opportunity, like, something's dead, and it's like, hey, this is pretty fresh. I guess I'll eat it, Like, imagine what it would do if it could just chomp bunnies, or something. Like humans. It could just eat humans in one bite. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So I wanted to say one of my last final thoughts was I really like these Rise of the Planet of the Apes type movies, So we get to see, before it was Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and now it's Rise of King Kong. Yeah. So
well, this wasn't a King Kong.
It was a little bit of a joke there, but I see it was received very well. It was supposed to be a little bit of a, ha ha. Yeah, because King Kong's like King Kong because he killed all the other two.
Mm-hmm.
And then King Kong happens in the past. So
I don't know.
And then there's some George is from Africa. He was poached. So, that's kind of like what King Kong... I've never actually seen King Kong, so...
Oh, my God. But yeah, that's all I have. You want to look at some trivia real quick? I brought up some trivia.
Sure.
So, let's see. There's a bunch of ones. Some of them are kind of random, though. The vehicle that The Rock drives in the film is a 2004 Ford Bronco concept vehicle that never went into production and was never released to the public. So his car was kind of cool. Yeah.
My dad told me about what some of those things are. Like, did you know that in The Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi talks about how... This is real quick, sorry. Not to mean to distract. The Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi tells about how he was in an all-Japanese squad, and that he got this, like, medal, right? This Medal of Honor or something like that. Like, I don't know what it was called. It was, like, it was, like, some medal, right? Medal of Valor or something. And the only known squad, the only full Japanese squad to earn that medal in World War II was actually, they all died, and they were given the medal after the fact.
Oh,
so
really?
They all died in the middle of a mission, and they were given the medals post-mortem, right? Mm-hmm. And then my dad told me about this. He was on Wikipedia reading about this, about the movie, and then he goes on this whole tangent of like, and so yeah, that's what this movie device is he gives me some word, and it's like, it's when something that happens in a movie is deliberately different than reality even mentioned, mm-hmm. And I mean, obviously all movies are deliberately twisting reality because otherwise it wouldn't be worth watching. I mean, but
yeah,
it's so funny that there's actually a lot of people that like think, I don't know, it's pretty insane. But yeah, anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to. Is that the only piece of trivia?
Let's see. In some of the Rampage games, the fighter jets sent to attack the monsters are A-10 Warthogs, which show up in the movie as well. So there's a little old of the game trivia.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that. Do you know the scene where they were rolling up, like the scene where they were rolling up on Chicago with that B-2 bomber? It reminded me a lot of The Rock. Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm.
It's with Nicolas Cage and really famous, popular guy, white hair, but yeah, very reminiscent. But yeah, anyway, again, I'm the biggest tangent. Anyway, go on.
In the movie, so this goes back to what we were talking about, the game. In the movie, George eats a woman wearing a red dress. In the games, you could eat a woman wearing red dresses for points and health. So there you go. That's what I was talking about. So I don't remember if you play as them or whatever, but as George, you can eat them for points and health. Let's see. Oh, so I knew about this one ahead of time. This movie is currently the best reviewed movie based on a video game of all time.
Interesting.
Which I know Joseph really
liked Tomb Raider.
Yeah, he really disagreed with this, where he's like, Tomb Raider is so much better, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we don't have to talk all about Tomb Raider, but it is kind of interesting that this is the highest rated video game. I think.
Now, do you think it's because it did the best? Like, because there's two sides of the coin. There's like, did it do well in theaters, like on its own, or was it most respected by the fans of the series?
I think it's specifically
just the highest rated.
I think it kind of cheated its way into that stat because it's not really like
a video game like
movie.
Yeah,
It's not really a video game movie, but it's like
it has the name and it has one character
and a couple characters, and then you throw The Rock in and make it an action movie. Like, you know, it's not like,
I mean, it's not gonna be a love story,
but I mean, like, it's not like the Mario Brothers movie where it's like we're making a Mario Brothers movie that is supposed to be like you're watching the game or whatever, or like anime adaptations with like the Dragon Ball Z movie and stuff like that. It's like, I think they kind of cheated their way into that definitely. In a way where it's like, I bet you at least 60% of the people going to see this movie don't even know it's a video game.
Yeah. Just like how 90% of people who went and watched Ready Player One didn't know it was based on a book.
Everybody knew it was based on a book. You were like the only one.
The weirdest thing is that you thought that I read the book too, and then I'm like sitting there like, I didn't even know it was a book.
I was just asking ahead of time. I was like, hey, did you read it? Just because I had heard.
Yeah, you said that you thought I read it though, didn't you?
No, I just said, have you read it?
Oh, I thought you said like afterwards. I'm like, wow, I thought you read it.
Oh no.
Or I thought I heard you read it.
Well, that's all the interesting trivia at least.
All the rest is garbage.
It's just kind of weird. Like, it's about the actors and how many movies they've played in together.
Oh, who cares about that?
Yeah. So overall, I liked it. It was a fun movie. Like, I definitely enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it was an amazing movie, but it was definitely fun seeing
How did your opinions change over the course of this?
I don't think it really did, honestly. I think it's kind of just... I think it kind of hurt because we saw it so long ago.
Yeah,
you know, like a week or whatever. So it's kind of already out of my mind. And we're going to try not to do that as much. We want to get into a schedule of, like, we see it, and then maybe, like, the next day or the day after at the latest, then we try to record and, like, talk about it. Because then it's still up to date with, like, a movie release as well.
Yeah.
But over this specifically, I don't think it changed that much. It almost even got, I think, a little better, if anything. Just because, like... we kind of like laughed about like certain like the Jeffrey Dean Morgan parts, and like, we kind of picked it apart a little more to be like parts that I thought were just kind of dumb and overlooked were kind of just, you know, it's like whatever, that's just happens. If anything, I think it would have went up a little bit, but I think it's kind of the same.
Interesting. Overall. Yeah, actually, like honestly, and this might not be so much over the course of our conversation, but over the course of really reflecting like how I've realized my opinions have changed versus because I was trying to preserve what I felt after the fact, immediately after the fact. But now that I'm really thinking about it, it's one of those movies that leaves a bad taste in your mouth. It's fun to watch. Yeah. It was definitely worth watching. I enjoyed watching. I remember thinking that. I was like, wow.
It definitely felt really long.
For what? Yeah.
It felt really long.
And I think it was kind of like primarily because what really happened, you know?
Yeah. It was basically the whole city.
The takeaway was really just building up to that one thing, and then it was such a long fight. It wasn't...
The movie felt really long. But it wasn't that long.
How long was it?
I don't remember. I guess I could pull it up.
No, we don't have that technology. But yeah, I think it's one of those things that I enjoyed in the moment.
It's 107 minutes.
No way. That was not only an hour long.
An hour is 60 minutes.
Can we edit that part out?
Nope, I'm not touching that.
Oh, God. Jesus. Well, you know, I enjoyed it. It wasn't really fantastic, but I was like, I am not displeased that I saw that movie.
Yeah.
It would have been more fun. Like if you had taken, like if we had a few more friends, it definitely would have been something I went to. Like, you know, and it's always something you go to see with friends, even if it doesn't look that great of a movie, but it was something that I think you all really could have enjoyed. We all really could have enjoyed like talking about it afterwards. But yeah. But I think that over time I've been like, man, that was just really not that great of a movie. There were so many like it didn't really have this great feel. The main character wasn't very compelling. The whole
Well, there wasn't even really characters.
Yeah.
I mean, well, they did better than
it's kind of
they did do better than I thought they would, where they set him up as the primate teacher and whatever.
I just would have liked if I guess, and not trying to be too analytical, because obviously we're not masterminds, and I don't want to be that, and I don't want to talk about that as though it matters that much, but I think that there is some validity to the fact that, you know, if you can't relate with the character too much, it's hard to kind of get into, especially when the action is kind of lacking.
Well, but then also on the other hand, this is a way better movie than it would have been if there wasn't a main character. If this was about,
of course.
If this was about the animals, I'm just saying, if this was about the animals getting big and the military dealing with it, it'd be such a bore.
Yeah,
it's like cool.
If Dwayne The Rock Johnson was not in it, then they wouldn't have had any main character.
If this was like,
just like, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like, what movies are like that?
I don't know.
Titanic.
But you know what I mean.
There are no main characters in Titanic.
Overall, I liked it. It was fun.
Yeah. I think, like, in the moment, it was like a 7.3. After the fact, like, while watching it, was a 7.3. I'd rated... Well, I'm going to change my rating scale. So it doesn't even really matter. Because I want most movies, like, 75% of movies to end up within 2.5 and 7.5. And I don't think this was on the higher scale of that. But...
I don't know.
Yeah. It's okay. Good. It's a 6.
You dropped it?
Yeah, I'm realizing now it's like it wasn't bad.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was below average, though. So I'd say it 4.
Oh, my God.
Now, that sounds terrible. But, like, if we think about it, then it's below average of a movie just because of the fact that it doesn't have any longevity, in my opinion. But
I like to base them more off like how I felt watching it, and so as I was watching it, I didn't feel like...
Fair enough. That seems like if we're gonna go off of that,
as I was watching it, it did not feel like a 4. It was definitely like the 7s or whatever.
I'd say it was like a 6.
But
yeah, like
it was fine.
But like, and I think everyone has this opinion that it's like grade school, you know. An A is 90% and above, a B is 80 to 90%, et cetera, and anything below 60 is failing. I don't agree with that.
Yeah. I think you should bump up your 6 just because of Jeffrey Dean Morgan, though.
Oh, if we went around just rating the scenes of Jeffrey Dean Morgan, it'd be actually an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Damn,
movie.
son, did you just run down 80 flights of stairs?
Seriously, that
best line. I've said it so many times in this. But it's so funny to me. It was so funny.
It was a great line. It was great. I like
his
the character.
delivery, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like so
100%.
surprised. He's like, "What the heck? Did that really just happen?"
100%.
I
don't think many actors could have pulled off that character to the degree that he did. Even the lines where,
the whole part when he was that whole scene where he's talking to them when they first get arrested, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And he's holding up the tablet and stuff. Every line about that was so snarky and so funny. Where he's like, redacted. What are you, some man of mystery or whatever?
Yeah, international man of mystery.
There was a couple one-liners that were really good that he said. I don't remember. Like that's what I like.
Yeah, that's what it would have been good.
To get that whole like monologue, I guess you could say. But that whole scene was super good. Well delivered by him. It was super snarky, super funny. Especially with like The Rock tied down, and he's like now Cowboy's the big guy.
Yeah,
you know he's got the power.
Yeah,
it's like The Rock just like having to sit there and look at him.
Yeah,
and he kind of tears him down with just his words.
Yeah,
like it was and in a funny way. It was interesting.
But
yeah, that's all I have really.
Yeah, and I think we went through it enough. A little bit messy this time around.
It was
but
solid first one.
Makes sense, yeah.
We'll get the hang of it. I think the main thing is we need to
feel out. I think that after especially a few of these, we'll really know where it's lacking and where it's not.
But it's mostly just staying on a linear path.
Oh, of course,
bounce all over the place.
Yeah, and I think again, not to harp on the same, like a broken record, both of us.
Yeah.
Is that if it had been the day after.
Yeah.
I think it would have been much more easy to follow the linear path of progression of like, movie started here. What do we feel? What do we all talk about? And not jump around. But I mean, that might change when we add our third co-host here. Who
we can get Joseph on.
Yeah,
Joseph is our other friend that we like to see movies with, but he couldn't be here tonight when we were trying this out. So we'll try to get him on.
He's a lot more of a wild card. He brings things up at a very
we'll see if we can get him back.
Fresh rate.
So we'll get into the swing of this. We're going to do a couple more probably soon. I don't know what we're going to see next. We're going to try to get some sort of schedule so we can figure out what we're seeing next and when we're gonna drop an episode. So like you guys can actually know. I don't want it to be too scrambly. Like all of a sudden you know one pops up and gets posted and you don't really know what you're seeing. You know, so we'll figure it out. If you guys wanted to let us know your thoughts about Rampage, you can email us at themidnightshowingpod, pod@gmail.com. We also have a Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. So we're on all socials. They're a little different. Facebook is just The Midnight Showing. Twitter is @ShowingMidnight. And Instagram is The Midnight Showing. So other than that, I hope to hear from you guys what you thought about the movie and your thoughts about this episode and improvements for us. Like we said, this is the first one that we're trying out, so we're getting this one this time. But yeah, thanks everyone for coming to The Midnight Showing. We'll talk to you guys next time.